Yesterday I watched it on YouTube. Now I know it's a fact.
G'day everyone, it's the middle of the night and it's me, the anti-theocrat, back for another one. I wanted to get something out tonight and I've left it rather late to do it, so I'm going to possibly be a little bit quiet about this one, but at the same time I really want to try and have a laugh, because you need to laugh at the dark, right? Otherwise the fears will get you, right? But this shit is just crazy, and what can you do but laugh at it? So Tom Bassinet here has an MSW, an LMSW, and is retarded. And that's probably why he headlined an article in Psychology Today, "Sexual assault is our norm." Did you get that? The normal practice for you is not breathing, eating or sleeping. It is sexual assault. Get a grip on yourself, people. Who do you think you are? Anyway, surprising ways good men and women contribute to rape culture. Going over here, let's see if Dissenter's going to show me my comment, because this might be the easiest way to get past this bit here. Now, I'm going to try and follow the story through. Right, it must be in the live chat. Here we go. Oh, by the way, if you're not using Dissenter, why? What's wrong with you? I'll try to get past the title, but in reality, does anyone other than the idiots in the pseudoscience fields seriously still believe we live in a rape culture, given no culture doesn't punish the crime in some way, even if the woman also faces punishment? In some less enlightened societies, the only place rape goes under the radar is it is often boys being raped, boys and girls without families, because raping people's daughters is still rarely accepted anywhere. How fucked in the head do you need to be to even give voice to that idea? It was rather handy pushing forward the effort to stop campus sexual assault without addressing the FBI figures that show they are effectively the safest places to be. The rest of this was the usual feminist piffle. So that was my dissenter comment on this, and that was essentially where I could have left it, but I've gone ahead and done some favours here. And I'm going to read on a bit before I bring that up. Sexual curiosity and desire are natural and compelling forces, and they are inherently benign. So maybe you're not sexually assaulting as your norm. However, in the context of a rape culture, as many suggest the US is, they become toxic and destructive. Okay, this has no meaning. This has no basis in reality. This is just, some people think the US is a rape culture. So, in some people's minds, where they're thinking this thing, it's toxic and destructive. But all he said there is some people imagine the US to be a rape culture, and therefore this is in their imaginations. When a university fraternity, true story, sends out an email survey to its members asking who on campus would you like to rape, we see curiosity infused with deep violence and hostility. We also constantly hear about the high levels of date acceptance rape on college campuses, and for decades government and college personnel have been fighting hard to try to prevent it. Of course, it's a problem in the larger society as well. According to RAIN, who are extremely credible, not extremely feminist and overboard in overstating or even faking statistics at all. No, they're extremely credible, RAIN are. On average, 433,648 sexual assaults occur annually in America, or one every 73 seconds. Now, it must be noted that people like Rain consider saying hello or opening a door to be sexual assault sometimes. It depends how they're feeling on any particular day. But let's have a look at this idea, shall we? The Bureau of Justice Statistics in the US. I'm using US figures because the story's US based and all the information is US based. Let's go to the highlights. The rate of rape and sexual assault was 1 to 2 times higher for non-students than for students. That's 7.6 per 1,000 for non-students and 6.1 per 1,000 for students. For both college students and non-students, the offender was known to the victim in about 80% of rape and sexual assault victimizations. Most 51%, student rape and sexual assault victimization occurred while the victim was pursuing leisure activities away from home. So they were getting on the piss and partying away from home, and they've decided to scream rape or sexual assault at something that happened between them and another person. So we'll credit that this is probably not false claims, but I tell you, in the Me Too era, I suspect more and more claims as being false all the time. Compared to non-students who are engaged in other activities at home, 50% when the victimization occurred. So students are actually more likely to have this happen away from home when they are partying, whereas non-students, these activities can occur more often at home. So the students have effectively put themselves in a position where this is more likely to happen for this statistic to show. This 6.1 per 1,000. Now, I give, if these are true claims, and this could only be, I mean, this is rape and sexual assault. And we know sexual assault can just be opening a door for someone some days. So 6.1 people having a door open for them could be a very serious thing. But you've put yourself in the danger at least 51% of the time. That's 3 of these people were partying, pissed somewhere. And chances are, there's some of those people were actually, not they were going along until they realised there was guilt involved, and then they reported it. We know this happens. The offender had a weapon in about 1 of 10 cases of rape or sexual assault victimization against both students and non-students. Rape and sexual assault victimization of students, 80%, were more likely than non-students to go unreported to the police. Now, okay, they're saying that students are less likely to report. In this day and age, I'm not convinced of that, especially in the US and with Title IX. Think, fuck, that got crushed. At least there's some sense somewhere. But compare that to this, where, he's written this horrifying story of how terrible, campuses are, and people are having to crack down on the campuses. It seems a bit overboard, doesn't it? Now, I've got a second Department of Justice sheet up here, so what did I bring that up for? Okay. Oh, that's right, because we're in such a terrible rape culture. From 1995 to 2010, the estimated annual rate of female rape and sexual assault. Now, we've got to remember this is only female victims of sexual violence, because, it doesn't matter where you go, men are going to get ignored somewhere along the way. we know that when you include prison figures, men get raped more often in the US than women do. But, doesn't matter. Let's overlook that for now. This is just female, okay? So we'll keep that in mind. The rate of female rape or sexual assault victimization has declined 58% from 5 victimizations per 1,000 females aged 12 or older to 2.1 per 1,000. Now, 2.1 women having a door open for them might be a terrible thing. There's probably even a rape or two chucked in there. And maybe even a false one or two, given the number of men being released after being found innocent of the charges of rape that they were put in prison for. But anyway, I wanted to bring that up, that, there is a decline of 58%. Now, if we were in a rape culture, as Mr. Retard has put forward, you would expect that to have increased, surely. It's a terrible enough thing that he's written this scathing article in a psychology journal. I have a third window open. I'm going to leave the rest of that. It's basically damning of him. And yeah, nobody wants rape to be happening, and sexual assault. I've been sexually assaulted by women myself, so I know it's not something you want happening. But, why sexual assault and rape are even side by side, they're not quite the same level of activity or crime, I'm not sure. So, maybe I don't know something that other people know, especially the way we now regard things like opening doors as sexual assault. That is hardly anywhere near being raped. This is a study from 1994 to 2010, and it says over 60% decline in sexual violence against females during that period. Rape culture, right? We live in a rape culture. Now, I did this research in the middle of the bloody night in fairly short order, just to have something to sit aside alongside this, because I knew these figures existed. It didn't take me long to search for them. But this guy still managed to write this without including any figures from legal bodies. He included these people, and I dare you to look up some of the material they put up, because I found them very easily in my searches too. Fucking headache trying to even read that crap. These people are crazy. The Rape, Abuse and Incest National Network are fucked in the head. Anyway, this retarded soy boy, let's get on with his articles. See where he goes with this, eh? Because maybe he's just having a joke with us. The outrage over these incidents is usually focused on a subgroup of young men behaving badly. I did find another statistic in there that said, was one of the Bureau of Justice statistics. It was probably this one, because this is pretty much the one that had the most information on this. But 80% of people who had committed these crimes reoffended. We pretty much know that. We know that, it's essentially 5% of people, male and female, who are doing all the shitty things. They just do them over and over. So, anyway, yes, he's trying to dismiss the fact that this is a small group of men, and he's trying to treat it as if we're downplaying it. They're just being boys. They're behaving badly. But no, they're committing criminal acts, and we know that. You don't have to try and water down our arguments. While we must focus on perpetrators in order to protect others from them, a spotlight should also be aimed at the conditions that exist in our society that allow them, both perpetrators and others, to think this is acceptable behaviour. No, you're the one who put these words in our mouth. We do not think rape is acceptable behaviour. We focus on these bad actors, but we must begin to accept that sexual misconduct can't continue without us, its unwitting cheerleaders and enablers. You dumb fuck. Nobody is cheering rapists. We have lists that they go on as sex offenders so that their neighbours can find their name on a list and call them out for years, hounding them and chasing them around, declaring them to be sex offenders. You're saying that that is cheerleading and enabling, are you? You're a fucktard. We are blindly and deeply embedded in a rape culture, yet we suffer from the delusion that we raise our young to behave appropriately and to be aware of interpersonal boundaries. For one thing, we frequently promote hyper-masculinity through sport and popular media. Okay, it is not hyper-masculinity to play sport or to see men as heroes. That is just how masculinity works. Have you ever seen the aftermath of a hurricane or a cyclone? All right, I live in cyclone country, so let's go with the cyclones. Who do you think are the primary first people on the site to help mop up? It's men. My father shipped in after Cyclone Tracy that hit Darwin on Christmas Day in 1974, I think it was. He shipped in to Darwin only shortly after the cyclone hit to help to rebuild. Admittedly, he was rebuilding the radio station, but that's a fairly important thing to rebuild when communications are down. So, hypermasculinity, it is not. It is just masculinity. Yes, we overplay a lot of things in art and culture, in art and movies, in order to, sell a product. But we're not promoting anything. Nobody is going out and being Rambo. Do you understand that? I mean, Rambo was a damn long time ago. How many people do you think did a Rambo anywhere? It's not that displays of masculinity are bad. Well, thank you very much, soy boy. But they should not glorify violence and gratuitous violence in sport. And media should be called out. Well, look, some sports are just rough. And, God, compared to when I was a kid, I played hockey and I played on grass. And we took pride in being able to lift the ball off the grass and have it aiming at someone's head, so they have to duck out the way of this ball speeding towards them. My brother went down in a game once because a ball hit him fair in the guts. That was years ago. What did we do to hockey? We put it on AstroTurf and we fucked it up with some rules that was stolen from soccer and made it all petite and pansy. You're not even allowed to hit the ball anymore. You've got to flick it. Fuck, I stopped playing hockey. It was a piece of shit after that. But yes, where you think we're promoting gratuitous violence, I don't know, because every sport I grew up with, cricket, you can't aim the ball at people's head anymore. Australian rules football, you can't just take speckies off the back of someone anymore the way you used to. You just plough a boot into their shoulder and jump over them to get the ball. There are just so many. You can't just have on the field brawls anymore in any of the sports that I grew up with. Brawling was the norm. Tight shorts, brawling, trying to kill other people on the field. And as kids we were actually replicating that shit. And today's sport is fucking pansy compared to when we were growing up. In any case, this guy thinks apparently we should be calling out the pansies for not being pansy enough. Sometimes the aggressiveness in one situation can create license in other situations. Oh yes. For example, most parents will tell us that they raise their boys to respect girls. What the fuck are you on about, clown? But, intentionally or not, they presume they pressure them to pursue girls. Really? They pressure them to pursue girls. The girls have no party in, couplings and so forth. Fuck, I've had stalkers. But what are you talking about? Respect girls, but pressure to pursue them. I thought it was the girls who were looking to have babies, to get married, to settle down, have the white wedding, to pursue the boys into and get them into these things. I understand that boys want to get with girls, but which parents are saying, "Hey, buddy, you can't get one, go and rape one"? You fucked in the head. Yes, I grew up with the rule, don't hit a girl. Full stop. Any situation. No allowances. Do not hit girls. It's just not allowed. I grew out of that. Because I've been assaulted by women often enough that the next one who assaults me gets a fucking punch in the face. It's that simple. If you think you can hit me anymore, it's just not going to happen. When I was younger, when I followed those rules, women took advantage of me. But to say that I was pressured to pursue girls by parents who raised me, you're fucked in the head, mate. There's no... Look, my mum still blames the girl I lost my virginity to when I was 15 for the fact that I lost it. She doesn't see me as an active participant. She still blames the girl I was seeing who was a bit older than me. Well, she's still a bit older than me, but she was older than me, and my mum still blames her, as if I wasn't up and ready for the game. But no, it wasn't my mum who was telling me to chase the girls. My mum wanted me to stay away from them. Look at her, isn't she cute? Go over and talk to her. Or teasingly, do you have a girlfriend yet? What age of girls are you talking to? What age of boys are you talking about? I mean, fucking hell. Look, so many cultures I know where the girls are told that they have to have children and they should get married and have kids. Go on, get married, have kids. And shit, I've got a Chinese wife, and you want to see the Chinese culture around getting married. The women are insane trying to get married before they turn 30. They'll do anything to not be a spinster. That's past 30 as a spinster. But yes, which boys do you think are being told that they're not, that they should be getting with a girl? Seriously, which ones do you think? I don't know who you hang around with. Maybe you're hanging around with some creepy soy boys who are raising those sorts of kids. Boys who already have aggressive tendencies can take this too far. Well, stop raising soy-infused sons who can't fucking pick up women without being creepy. Some parents will also claim that they raise their girls to be pure, yet they encourage them to be beautiful and pretty and sometimes hyper-feminine. No, it's not called hyper-feminine. Girls lean towards pink and faces. They like dolls, not trucks. This is just natural. This has been studied. On leaving the womb, babies have male and female brain sets. And there is variation. Sure, there's variation. There's variation in everything. But the predominant systems in existence are male and female brains. The boys lean towards a mechanical, the girls lean towards a human. It's that fucking simple. And that's not hyper feminine, it's just feminine. You want everyone to just be bland down the middle, don't you? You want everyone to be that queer thing in the middle that looks like it's fucking got no gender at all, and nobody wants to lay it because it looks like it's fucking brain dead. It sounds like it too most of the time. Anyway, they want them to be chaste, but they end up being chased. Get it? Chased. Oh, fucking tosser. Anyway, this contributes to objectification of girls and women. Right. And the reason that men do become gym junkies and exercise or learn dangerous skills like fire twirling or stilt walking in my case, we do these things. We go out and get dangerous jobs and earn lots of money, not because women are objectifying us in any way, shape or form, are they? For our bodies or for our money or for whatever it is that women objectify you for. We're not objectified at all, are we? I'm not sure why he thinks the girls are objectified. Surely we're looking at them thinking, she's a cute girl. She's a pretty woman. She's a handsome woman. Whichever one you like, I don't give a shit. But surely, in every instance, we're looking thinking woman, unless it's one of those fucking queer things. Then we can't decide. They just look like shit. Since have I missed anything here? It's not that wanting. It's not the. Oh, fuck. It's not that wanting to look their best is wrong, isn't it? You've more or less spelled that out. But this, too, should depend on the situation. Oh, yes. So the college girls partying away from their homes, that's the best place for them to look girly and attractive, right? Is that what you're saying? They should dress up for the parties where they're getting the most of 51% of them are getting their sexual, their doors open for them. Right? Right, that's the case. Since I worked as a college counsellor, well, that was a pretty fucked up place then, wasn't it? I can tell you without exaggeration, no, you've told us nothing without exaggeration, that some women would love to leave their dorms without first applying makeup, even if the building was on fire. Well, that's not about the guys, is it? Because I tell you now, guys aren't fussy. I have two partners, right? Neither of them is a major... one of them's a face things, face creams and shit, but neither of them are heavy makeup wearers, if makeup is worn at all. I don't care. I'm male. I don't care. I find my partners attractive as they are. Otherwise, I wouldn't be with them. If all I wanted was the makeup, I'd go and buy myself a fucking doll and put makeup on it. Right. Unfortunately, parents often believe... Oh, hang on. That's what it is, isn't it? You're blaming the parents for girly-eyesing the girls. It's not the girls girly-eyesing the girls because the girls want to be seen as attractive. No, you're blaming the parents for raising them that way. Fucking retard. Unfortunately, parents often believe this kind of indoctrination of children is the solution. Solution for what? Oh, fuck, this guy's an idiot. Ironically, it's part of the problem. Raising gentlemen and ladies is not the answer. Actually, if you could raise ladies, raising gentlemen would be an answer. But if you can only raise utter bitches, then gentleman is a problem. You get it? They don't work independently. If you've got polite women, you can afford to have polite men. If you've got utter fucking hags, then you can't afford to have polite men. Soy boys like you, they get fucking walked over. Well, mind you, soy boys like you like to be walked over because you think you're getting closer to getting laid. And yeah, I just can't tell you why that's wrong. You should never give over anything of yourself for anyone else. You can compromise on how you manage yourself with other people, but you've got to keep the heart of what you are and stand by it, because people will respect you for it. Someone will respect you for it. Not everyone. I don't have a lot of friends. Just saying. But the people who know me and know me for who I am, they respect that I am who I am. This binary view of boys and girls sets them apart and makes communication between them more difficult. In other words, because of our early training, we become so focused on sex and gender differences that we may forget we are talking to another person. I think you just pulled half of that out of your ass. Yes, we do have gender differences. Yes, men and women do have trouble working out a level of communication. But no, that is not just socialization. The boys play with the trucks, the girls play with the dolls. The dolls never seem to want to sit in the trucks, right? There's just differences between us. Women are emotional. Men, even at the boy level, right? During my life, I was never the namby-pamby twisted piece of shit you seem to want boys to be. But girls are emotional, and boys don't deal well with emotion. And these things, they set us apart. They do. The only thing I agree with you on is we shouldn't be letting these things stand between us. At the heart of everything, we're all after the same goal. Most of us is the point here as well. Remember, it's a not all society. It's a not all world. But most of us are looking for companionship. We're looking for someone who, well, look, you've got the picture there of the boy and the girl holding hands, walking along. We'd all like to go through life like that. Right? Not all. But that's essentially the goal for most people, is to have companionship, someone we can stand by and enjoy until we can't anymore, until, one of us drops off the perch. And I think for most of us, all of us dropping off the perch at the same time would be the ideal. We don't leave people behind without us. It's, we hope for the best for them too. Well, dropping off a perch might not be the best, but I don't know. That was a rather twisted bit of whatever in the hell it just was I went on then. Anyway, let's have a look further down. Perhaps the most harmful thing that parents can do is teach children that even thinking of talking about sex is bad. I actually agree. I fucking agree. And it's not that I agree wholeheartedly with this. I think there's a point at which children become young adults, and at that point, I don't know if it's the parent's job to talk about sex. I learned most of what I knew about sex from a girl. I was pretty naive. I sort of knew what that thing in my pants was. I had an idea what it was meant to do. I'd even seen porn back then. It had come on a video recorder back then. Oh, exciting stuff, eh? VHS. Actually, it was at a mate's place. It might have been in the beta days still. In any case, yeah, I was pretty naive. A girl taught me everything I needed to know at the time. And I've got to say, I learned quite a bit. But, yeah, I don't think it's a parent's job to talk to children about sex. Children don't need to know about sex. Talking to children about sex is the sort of thing that creepy parents who want to transition their children do to their kids. I don't think we should do that to our kids. Leave their childhood and their naivety until it sorts itself out. So we found a point of agreement here. Let's see if we can continue. When kids reach adolescence, they can think abstractly and hypothetically, and this helps them make good decisions. If they aren't allowed to think or talk about sex, they can't use their higher order thinking to resolve real life situations. We need sexual fantasies to play them out in our head, so we don't have to act out all of them to see what happens. Sadly, parents don't realise that if they think for their teens, they're teaching them to allow others to do the same. You know, I think I agree with most of that paragraph. He's actually said something I mostly agree with. Yeah, I don't know about not allowing talk about sex. I don't know that you can't have some idea of sex, but I don't think you need to be teaching your kids about it. I don't think you need to be having those difficult discussions. My mother's entire advice to me when she found out that I was having sex was, I hope you're using a condom. And that was about all the parental advice I got. When it comes to sex, teen boys are pressured to adopt a milestone mentality, such as getting to first base, second base, and so on, kissing, petting, etc. Naughty stuff. You know, I think that that's mainly peers. I don't know. Yes, he does go on to say peers. This mentality is spread by peers. That the original source is adults. Really? Because I tell you what, my parents were not telling me to go around trying to kiss the girls. No. I don't know that. Actually, I worry about the sorts of mothers who say, I'm going to circumcise my son because I think it looks better. I think there's something really deeply sickly perverted about thinking about your son's adult dick and what he's going to do with it, or who's going to be looking at it. Are you preparing him for his job in porn, maybe, and he needs that nice red knob for you to look at? I don't know. There's something creepy and perverted about that. Maybe those parents are talking about their sons getting to first, second, and third base. By the way, buddy, third base is the next one. First, second, and so on. No, there's only 3 bases. Once you get to third base, you're done. This mentality is spread by peers, yes. Of course, many girls share similar goals. Well, these days, yeah, maybe. When I was younger, maybe too, I guess. You know, I don't deny that girls are sexual animals, but boys are more likely to feel responsible for initiating the cycle. You know, one of the hardest things about being male is this having to initiate. All the time, all your life. You get married and you still have to ask your wife if she's interested. She never asks you if you're interested. Well, rarely. Or sometimes, maybe. Depends. I've had those partners who ask, but, you know, most of the time, it's on us to be responsible. And that's not just a thing our parents or, you know, we feel we have to. It's something girls force on us. Girls want us to do that. They want us to want them and to want to pay for their meals and want to look at them. It's a natural enough state. It's a bit of a pain in the ass, but it's a natural enough state. We call it gynocentrism. And that goes wider than just, the boys having to initiate everything. Boys tend to be more instrumental or goal-orientated to begin with. But social focuses push them even harder. He is expected to ask for a date. He is expected to make the first move. He is expected to propose marriage. He is even expected to learn the art of turning on a girl on, as though she can't be a sexual person without his help. Now, this one I strongly agree with. Girls, if you're not getting off, work your own shit out. Stop expecting us to do it. It's that simple, really. If you're not orgasming, work out what the fuck you are doing wrong. Work out what the fuck he's doing wrong and let him know what he's doing wrong. Alright? If there's something you like him to do, tell him. Take some responsibility for your own fucking getting off, you lazy ladies. I actually came across a feminist story based on that one earlier, and I almost said lazy bitches, based on her article about how she needed the men to get her off all the time. But I understand that you're not all lazy bitches. So, excuse me, I almost let that one slip, didn't I? Just because I read an article by a dumb feminist. So yes, what he's essentially said here is that men are expected to make all the moves and all the, we're supposed to do all the work. But he's now turned this around right at the end, because she can't be a sexual person without his help. What? How did you get that out of there? Alright? The fact that she's pursuing him to do these things in the first place means that she's sexual. She's not asking the guy she doesn't want to fuck to do these things. She's gone after a guy with the intention of getting in his pants, and she's pushing for this because she's sexual. So we're not doing these things because she can't be sexual. We're doing these things because we know that if she's interested in these things from us, she is sexual. These societal norms for boys are half the foundation of rape culture. We've already established there is no rape culture. And why these things are the foundation of rape culture, I'm not sure. I understand that the pressures of this stuff can drive men crazy, but that doesn't make a rape culture. It makes a few people having a hard time of it go a little bit insane. Right? It's not rape culture. And notably, have you seen which women are the most adamant feminists when it comes to their need for sexual gratification and so forth? It's the land whales, the ones who aren't getting any, the ones the men aren't chasing so hard. Why aren't they the rape culture? Just a fucking... Even though the pressure on boys to act on sexual urges begins with biology, it's heavily reliant on the quest for higher self-esteem and social status. How are they not the same thing? The pressure... by the way, higher self-esteem and social status, I would say, are actually more female traits than male traits. We do have a social status system amongst men, but this higher self-esteem thing, that's definitely more the women, and they definitely still have social statuses. Okay, the pressure becomes so intense that even some boys we would consider to be good kids can become aggressive in their pursuit of a higher place in the pecking order. You saying boys will fight? Is that what you're saying? Is that it? Add alcohol and a party atmosphere, and it's possible even a good boy will struggle to control his inhibitions. Really? You sure? Okay. You're not going to support this with any evidence or anything, are you? I notice you use citations back up here when it didn't fucking matter, but you're not going to use any citations now, are you? Just going to leave us believing that good boys can go bad when they can't get laid. Way back in middle school, I got my first lesson about this kind of sexual bravado. And that's why you're a soy boy. One guy was part of our group of friends, and he was a year older than the rest of us. Larry was tall, good-looking, athletic, and popular. One day on the playground, a discussion came up about the 4-H Club, an organised youth group for character development. Larry told us he belonged to a different club, the 4F Club. We took the bait and asked what he meant, and he said, it was what you do to girls. Find 'em, feel 'em, fuck 'em, and forget 'em. Oh. So Larry told you a really lame, weak-ass kid's joke, and you took that to be a serious bit of rape culture banter? Did you? Oh, God, even as a kid you didn't understand kids. I wanted to confront him. Grrr. But the other boys were laughing, and I felt alone in my disgust. You were raised by a single mother, weren't you? Fucking weak as piss you are. I learned that day that on many other days after that, the guy's public vocalization of compassion seemed to be the exception rather than the rule. You know what? Yes, male banter is very different to female banter. Women are bitches. Women will talk shit, but women are essentially bitches. They'll backstab each other. We guys, we're sort of more confrontational, and that confrontation can come out in words. You know, we call our friends fucktards and wankers and, you know, cunts in Australia. But this is sort of a way of short-circuiting violence in some cases. You know, we're already at the point where we're calling each other arseholes, so, you know, where do you go from there? You sit down and have a beer together. But, you know, bragging and all the rest of that, I'm not a brag culture person myself, but I've been there and I understand why guys do it, and I don't care. I was taught not to discuss, you know, certain things with other people, and your bedroom activities are one of those things you kept to yourself. And so I could sit and listen to other guys having their rambles and not add anything to the conversation. And I'm pretty damn sure that in my earlier life I was the most sexually active of the guys doing the talking anyway. So yes, I don't see where you're going from here. It just shows you're a pussy. Okay. Boys talk and boys compare. Yes, maybe. You're saying girls don't. Are you saying that all the shit that we get told about girls having issues with their small breasts or, you know, their lack of height or short legs or whatever else, they don't discuss these things. They never compare anything. They never compare boyfriends. You know, which guy's the hot guy, which one are you going to get, who's going to take you to the dance. I don't know where the fuck you go with that, because I'm not a girl. But, you know, you saying girls never compare. Everywhere through this, you've blamed boys. As often as you can, you've blamed boys. But almost every case where you've blamed boys, I can turn it back around and write girls in there, and it would say the same thing and mean the same thing and be correct. Well, where you've been correct, you've been a fucking retard quite a bit. If we look at it from the relationship perspective, this obsession, did I mention it's past 1 o'clock in the morning? My bedtime was ages ago. I've got to get up and take a son to school in the morning. With what others do or not doing, misses the point entirely. Sex should be a personal human experience, not just a series of thoughtless, pleasurable activities or social competition. Really? That seems a bit like the biological method for humans. There is a definite competition about sex. Males and females are competing in different ways for the attention of the opposite sex generally. And that is going to be sexual, isn't it? It is just going to be sexual. I'm not taking a prudish or moral position. Bloody sounds like it. As much as you are, but as much as I'm expressing concern about how men are late in the game when it comes to experiencing real intimacy. I just don't think you've ever been a man and understand how a man expresses intimacy. Men do express intimacy on levels almost equivalent to women. But how we talk to one another is not how we talk to women, or what we expect from women. Right? Unless, of course, you're gay. Are you gay? Do you have intimate moments with other men? Most of us don't do that, okay? When we're talking to other men, we talk very differently to how we talk with our partners, which shows that we are intimate with our partners because they are not our friends. They are not our male companions. Okay? You get this at all? I know I'm doing a bad job of trying to explain this to you, but do you see the difference at all? Yes, you are a fucking prude, by the way. It matters because even if boys learn the mechanics of sex, they're often doing so at the expense of relationshipal relation. Oh, fuck it. Who cares? The skills required for... He's willing to cite here when it doesn't matter. The skills required for healthy relationships are not learned by just practicing sexual rituals. No, I do agree with these people you've bothered to cite, if that's what indeed they discovered. But sex for a man is part of our intimacy. It's part of how we express our intimacy. All right? I've actually had this discussion with women that the fact that I am having sex with you shows that I have given something of myself to you. I've got naked in front of you. I have put myself on the line, okay? You could take one look at me and say, you're a fruit. Look at you. I don't want you anymore, right? I've put myself emotionally out there just by getting naked and wanting to do this act with you. This goes back to boys and men having to be the ones who make all the moves, okay? Rejection is always on our minds. Rejection is always there for us. Rejection is the thing we probably experience most in life unless we are that absolute number one or 1% of the alpha males, okay? Now, I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta, but I'm not a fucking top rank alpha. So I've had my share of rejection. And it comes from being the person always having to make the move, which is our biological norm, our gynocentric nature. And by putting ourselves in a position of getting naked and exposing ourselves to someone else, we are showing a level of intimacy. And I know few people understand this. I have had to tell women how important sex is in a man's intimacy. Because without it, we'd be bragging with their mates at the pub, as you say, right? That's where we're not being intimate. Alright, retard, let's move on. In a brainstorming session with college students about how to prevent sexual assault, okay, not really interested in your idea of how to prevent sexual assault, given you don't seem to understand basic practices of how men and women behave and interact. I gave an example of ritualistic dating behaviour that constitutes sexual assault, but is rarely treated as such. Okay, let's get this. When in the presence of a potential sex partner, it is common to touch them without asking permission. A young man fondles the breast of his date or acquaintance. She may push his hand away or tell him not to repeat the action, but technically, he has already sexually assaulted her. The same would be true if she touched him without asking. Yes, you're a fucking retard. Right? I met my wife in a nightclub. And by the time 5 o'clock came around and the club closed, there was a lot of touching and feeling going on, mainly from me, but without any argument from her. We've been married now for 25 years. If I had been sexually assaulting her, we would not be. You can get away with doing these things without having to ask permission. Asking permission probably would have got me slapped, and I would not now have been married for 25 years. I took my cues in other ways. She took her cues in other ways. And, well, we queued up, didn't we? Consensus on my assertion wasn't easy to reach. One student said, "Usually people just know when it's okay to go further." Yes, non-verbal cues are a thing. Another student said to me, "You're right. It's assault. But how can we explain that to high school or college students without sounding crazy?" Because you are fucking crazy. It is not assault. Even the pushing away of a hand. And I have to say, my wife pushed my hand away a couple of times. Doesn't mean she's not interested. Doesn't mean it's not going well for you. Yeah, if she says no, if she says an outright verbal no, I'm not interested, then walk away. Find someone else who's willing. But if she doesn't, okay, no means no. Yes means you're boring and tedious. Or just asking for the yes means you're boring and tedious. If she says yes, consider running. Not really. Consider yourself lucky. I don't know. He identified the main problem. With normative behaviour. It becomes accepted and invisible, so pushing the cultural reset button seems unnatural and extreme. You're a retard. I mentioned that boy indoctrination was half the foundation of rape culture, but earlier you also blamed girls, I seem to remember, or parents, for raising girls. I think mainly you blame parents. The other half is the type of girl indoctrination. Yes, see? That is complementary to boy brainwashing. Brainwashing? Fucking hell, hang on. There's a desk here. That's better. Brainwashing. Boy brainwashing. Okay, we were talking about boy indoctrination and brainwashing here. Oh, fuck, you're a retard. Beautiful girls benefit from the halo effect, which means they are believed to be more attention worthy and more interesting than plain girls. Actually, I don't mind the plain girls. The beautiful girls are too fucking up themselves. Don't worry about them. Let the guys who are up themselves have them. They'll all end up divorced and unhappy. Not to say that my partners are plain. Don't you dare say it. That keeps some women who feel they are the winners in the scenario invested in the status quo. Ugh, fucking hell. Girls are also encouraged to be coy and mysterious. Honestly, if they are straightforward about their sexual interests, they are slut-shamed. I know I can find the information on slut-shaming, which says that slut-shaming is something girls do to girls. It is not something boys do to girls so much. Boys like sluts. You get that? Boys like sluts. We're not shaming sluts. If we're calling you a slut, maybe we're saying, can I have some? I don't know. I'm off it again. I'm cackling internally over here. You have to excuse me. I'm having trouble taking any of this seriously. I'm trying very hard. They are taught to romanticize sex to cover their learned shame. So could it be that some of the rape allegations and sexual assault allegations are because of their shame? Could it? I'll just let that one slide, shall I? For boys, they are mysteries to be solved, and no boy can resist a good mystery. For fuck's sake. This does not mean that a victim is to blame just because she is attractive, coy, or mysterious. Where'd you pull that one out of your ass? No, it doesn't, but fucking it doesn't. You know, if a guy is mildly attractive, coy, and just seems uninterested or hasn't expressed any interest, and he has a woman sexually assault him, is he to blame? You always come back to the fact it's about the he's, don't you? He is still guilty of taking something that doesn't belong to him. Arr. I want it. Soy boys. Romance is strong attraction. How far we got to go with this bloody shit? Oh, God. Can I jump to the punchline? Can I? Look, I haven't read most of this article. I thought we'd come to it blind. And I'm just getting really bored with it. It's just the same shit over and over. And he's a fucking retard, so I don't really give a shit. Oh, God. Fucking hell. Let's go to the punchline. If we're serious about healthy relationships and prevention of sexual and relational violence, we must transcend these exaggerated and no longer useful gender and sex norms. We will fail to come to terms with sexual mistreatment unless we recognise that it is a pervasive cultural problem, not just some people misbehaving. We do a terrible disservice to ourselves and the casualties of abuse when we oversimplify the problem. Like, you mean making it about boys and men? And trying to make out that the women are all damsels and that you're here to save them. Fucking soy boy. Fuck off. Alright, I'm going to leave it at that. I will leave the links to these sources of information I found. How long is this video now? Fuck, I've gone on an hour. Right, that does it. I'm dumping. I'm going to bed. I was going to show you the end one over here, about a psychologist, but we'll leave that for another video. This just went too long. See you all in the next one. I've been the Anti-Theocrat. May your gods remain fictional, and I'll see you then.
YouTube video.